I used to belong to the Mexican Army, and there are things I don't dare mention, names or places, because honestly, there's no point. What I do want to share is an experience that really marked me and made me see many things in a different way. When I arrived at the barracks, I arrived together with a classmate from high school. Even before joining, both of us shared the same dream of becoming part of the infantry. We arrived on the same day, we were received on the same day, and we basically started together. Back then, I used to straighten my hair, and they called her La China because of her hair. I should also say that we were both young and had a certain look that attracted attention. From the moment we arrived, something felt off. The guy who was acting as the recruiter kept looking at us in a way that, as a woman, you notice right away. At first, we tried to ignore it because we had just arrived, and all we wanted was to hang in there, learn, and graduate. But one day while we were together, a supervisor who was in charge of the cashier came up to us and said something that I still remember perfectly. He told us that if we wanted to take it easy, we already knew how things were, that we had to pay with the asterisk, and if not, we would end up paying for nothing. I never agreed. Honestly, hearing him say that made me angry, but I also knew my position. I remember that during the obstacle course, there was a time when I had to do the Tarzan jump. I was already extremely tired, I was out of breath, and when I tried to do it, I ended up falling into the water. I felt like a pig, all covered in mud and exhausted, but even so, I kept going. Right there, I saw something that made me think. In the distance, I saw La China get into the manager's truck. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask anything. But from that moment on, I understood what she was up to. Then the police came, the graduation, and fate wanted both of us to be sent to the same state along with 5 other classmates. It was a complicated place, and from the moment we arrived, we realized there were many things you only learn by being there. There was a major there who constantly stared at us. I noticed it, but I also noticed that China didn't look away. On the contrary, and one night something very similar happened to what we had experienced before. That major came over and basically told us the same thing, that if we wanted to have it easy, we already knew what we had to give. I stayed the same as from the beginning, but China took a different path. Sometime later, I found out because one of my old friends told me he had seen her go into that major's quarters. Honestly, it didn't surprise me. By then, I had already understood a lot of things. Shortly after, they sent me to operations. I remember a sergeant snapped his fingers at me and told me to gear up because we were moving out. During those days, I found out about people who were missing. I also saw signs with photos and names. What hit me hardest was recognizing some faces I had seen at the barracks. That had a big impact on me. Once we confronted the organization we sought. It happened very quickly. I estimate we were about 40 meters away. The first thing I thought was that the situation was really bad, because even in the darkness, you could tell they were organized people. Some may not like this, but giving your opinion from afar isn't the same as being there to see things happen. We repeatedly asked for support from the state and municipal police, and nobody came. The closest support ended up being from other soldiers who showed up much later. In the middle of all that, I remember seeing a sergeant who was always tough on me. I saw him on top of one of the patrol vehicles asking for a part to get more support. He was shouting over and over again, and nobody dared to move. I didn't want to move either. Honestly, I was terrified. But in the end, I did it. I remember my heart was in my throat as I tried to help. After that, things happened so fast that even today I still have trouble making sense of them. What I do remember perfectly is coming back and feeling completely shaken, as if my head was trying to make sense of everything I had seen that day. When I came back and dropped off the equipment, one of the first people I ran into was La China. She was looking at her phone. She saw me arrive, and one of the first things she told me was that her life was really hard because her boyfriend from civilian life had broken up with her. I just stared at her. I was already trying to process things I didn't understand, so hearing that overwhelmed me. My reaction was to punch her in the stomach. Not because it was the right thing to do, but simply because at that moment I exploded from everything that had happened.